Welcome to the Awaken the Awesome podcast with your host, Olivier Day. This is Awaken the Awesome, a podcast bringing a down-to-earth approach to personal growth. On this show, we're helping individuals just like you learn about tapping into their incredible potential through insightful interviews and inspiring lessons. Our mission is to encourage you to always keep pushing towards achieving your dreams and to stay awesome along the way. I wanted to jump on because I'm trying to be a little bit more proactive. And sometimes when I have these sparks in my head, it's always a good idea to check in with you guys. And I just wanted to share this because it was on my heart. Giving a little bit more space to my upbringing and the fact that I was raised by two parents who really put in a lot of emphasis on accountability, and that you are the product not just of your circumstances, but very much so of your decisions. You have a very, very big role to play in whatever happens to you in this life. And I couldn't escape something that I read and that just popped in my head right now. Because every so often I have this very ferocious feeling inside of me that never lets me lose sight of the fact that every single day is a choice. Every single opportunity is a choice. And that as brutal as it sounds and uncomfortable as it sounds, and as much as you don't want to hear otherwise, success and failure do not happen by accident. They happen by design. I'm going to say this again. Success and or failure do not happen by accident. They happen by design. As I like to do, I'm going to put in a personal example. I always tell the story of how the later years of high school were not fun for me. I'm not a dumb guy, but I did not put a lot of effort into the later years of high school. And a lot of my friends were doing very well. To this day, ask anyone in my posse who was on the schoolyard with me, they'll say there's one thing I hated more than math. It's very hard to compete. I hated math. I couldn't stand math. I didn't want anything to do with math. And I convinced myself that there was no way and no chance in hell that I would ever succeed in math. And lo and behold, every other year, all the way up to our last year, our senior year, I did very poorly in math. Now, I told you that story to tell you this one. Math is actually very beautiful. And it's not basic on a high school level. If I had to pick up the books right now, I'm pretty sure I do a lot better. But when I take the arrogance, innocence, and laziness of that teenager who didn't know any better but to buck up and rebuke and had all the excuses not to do well, I think, dude, grow a pair. Do the work. Eventually what happened, that trickled down into a lot of things. For a lot of years, I spent a lot of time telling myself that I wasn't such a good student. And what happened, it trickled down. For those who know Haiti, I was in Saint Louis all the way up to 12th grade. And I didn't pass. So afterward, I had to transfer to another school and redo the year. But it was kind of a sobering thing when you realize that had I put in just a little bit more interest, a little bit more effort, I had successfully designed a flunky persona just by convincing myself that I was no good. So that, I guess what I'm trying to say in simpler words is, even doing nothing is doing something, because I had designed a failure system just by doing nothing, just by not putting in work, not putting in the books, not looking to my friends for mentorship, not going out and, getting more books and putting in the time and practicing at home. And that trickled down to a lot of things for the longest time. Now, what really sparked this, earlier today, I was listening to an episode of the Tim Ferriss show, and the latest guest was none other than the governor himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he was talking about the fact of how he had, since a very young age, since probably the age of 16, he knew he was going to be the best, the most famous bodybuilder in the world. That was by design. It did not, in his mind, in his fabric, in his core, he knew very well that he would not be anything less. Where some of his friends and fellow competitors just wanted to be the local bodybuilding champion. No, he wanted to be Mr. Olympia. He knew he was going out to be Mr. Olympia, and that was his vision. That was his design. Becoming the governor of California was not an accident. Becoming the highest paid, most lucrative superstar of his day was not a coincidence. He took acting classes. He took speech classes. He learned sales. He learned how to market yourself. He learned how to create charisma in his persona. He learned these things by design. Success, as a lot of the people I've spoken to over these past few years, a lot of them has said the same thing. Success leaves clues. There is nothing new to be invented. There is nothing new to be discovered in this realm of personal growth. Just understand that success and failure happen by design. I keep sometimes amazing myself at, sometimes the caliber of guests I get on, or how much time I put in to make these episodes happen, or keep showing up every other time, every other day, to continue to make this podcast grow slowly but surely. And sometimes I have to catch myself saying, well, yeah, that's how it works. You have to keep going. You have to stay consistent. You have to understand trends. You have to seek out proper guests. You have to, just learn learn better speech, learn better interviewing techniques, listen to other interviewers. Everything happens by design, but failure as well. If you don't learn to grow, if you don't collaborate with people who are better than you, if you do not integrate circles of people who have learned the process, who have mastered it, people who are a lot farther than you, if you do not try to emulate these people you want to be like, or you want to reach the same levels, then by design, your failure is guaranteed. I'm sorry to be harsh, but failure also is something that you've learned to chisel for yourself. You get what you tolerate. At some point, you have to hold yourself accountable to that. What did you do, or what did you not do to end in this space where you want to or you don't want to be? You have to remember this word: by design. Your success is your choice in regards to the relationships that you make, the courses that you take, the knowledge that you acquire, the courses that you buy, the books that you listen to, the time you go to bed, the quantity of food that you ingest, the quality of food that you put in your system. My formula might not be your formula, but you have to at least find a formula that works. That is your design. I heard this from E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. You have absolutely no chance of achieving success if you not if you do not adhere to a system. I learned this from one of my best friends, who's also a very, very talented engineer. He's like, everything can be quantified. Anything and everything, even the universe, can be quantified. So anything and everything can be designed. So you need to understand what is your design. Practical tips, you need to understand how much sleep do you need? How much food do you need? When do you like to eat? When you like not to eat? Do you like to have lunch? Do you like to have supper? How many times a week are you going to work out? Because you need to take care of the basics first. You guys know I'm very big on the basics. What are your basics? Where are we trying to get? What is the end goal? What does success look like? Okay, we need to make $100. Again, make your goals attainable and reachable. Keep them simple. How can we attain $100 of supplemental side hustle income? We made $100. Okay, let's make 200. Let's try to emulate that and reproduce it and reproduce it and reproduce it. Anything can be quantified by design. And if it doesn't work, try something else. You need to also give yourself time, because I know a lot of you are impatient. But also, let's flip it. Failure, I'm going to say it again, also by design. Do you want to or don't you want to? Do you like what you're doing? Do you not like what you're doing? Are you just making excuses because you're not going to switch your pattern? You're not going to switch your habits. You're not going to switch your speech. You're not going to switch your relationships. You're not going to switch any other thing. You're going to stick to this because guess what? That becomes your excuse. Success and failure are by design. You either do or you don't. Either way, it's your choice. I want to thank you guys for checking in on this short recording. Just understand that sometimes I will make you uncomfortable on these solos. You guys have been used to me right now. When it's on the solos, it's all about real talk. I'd love to get your feedback on this. Always check in with me either on Instagram via ATA Podcast or directly via email awakentheawesome@gmail.com. I always like to get your feedback just to hear you guys and how you resonate with this. What is your design? What is your design? Have you noticed patterns of yours that have led you astray or that have kept you on the proper path? And it's in sharing these little nuggets that we can help each other, because we are all in this together. You guys have a great evening. Stay blessed. Stay awesome. This has been another episode of the Awaken the Awesome podcast. We always love to get your feedback, so please do drop us a line via Instagram, Facebook, or email. Our email address, awakentheawesome@gmail.com. Do visit our official website at awakentheawesome.ca, where you can find our entire back catalog of episodes and incredible guests. Also, if you haven't already, please hop on over to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, give us a rating, and leave us a review, as this helps us tremendously in growing this podcast and spreading the word to more awesome listeners like you. We always appreciate your support, and thank you for listening. Stay awesome.